Добър ден и добре дошли на поредния семинар на Sirma Group. Днеска ще направим презентация на увеличението на капитала на дружеството. Процедурата по
The procedure for increase of the company of the new public offering has started last week on the 27th of November. We tried to provide accessible information relating to the public offering. On the slide of the presentation that you see, you can find links to the strategy of the group. This is how Sirma will develop from now to 2022. You can also find the prospectus graph for the public offering and the announcement of the Bulgarian Stock Exchange, as well as any useful information. You can see this in the investment section of our website. In the financial calendar of the site, we have published the main dates relating to the public offering. And of course you can find everything on the section of Sirma Group on the website of Bulgarian Stock Exchange and the website of First Financial Brokerage House. You can ask your questions at the Skype address Sirma.ir or the email ir@sirma.bg. So I would like to present our panelist, Mr. Tsvetan Alexiev, who is CEO of Sirma Group Holding. Next to him is Stoyan Nikolov, who is General Manager of First Financial Brokerage House. Next is Mrs. Radka Peneva, who is our Chief Financial Officer. And then Mr. Jordan Nedev, who is member of the Board of Directors of Sirma Group Holding. So I give the floor to Mr. Alexiev. Hello. I would like to start with some facts about Sirma, who we are. We're the biggest Bulgarian software group currently. Our focus is on AI technologies. This is something that we have started as pioneers back in 1992. Back then, it was not the time to develop such type of technologies. It was too early, even though we have implemented several very interesting projects. Today, the whole world is speaking about the AI, that is the future of technologies. And through the whole time, 26 years now, we have developed such technologies, and currently we are very well positioned in one of the fast growing trends of the software industry. We are the only Bulgarian software company which has products which are recognized as market leaders in the world. There were several software companies that had good products. Most of them are already acquired by foreign companies, and we are the only Bulgarian company, and we impose the quality of Bulgarian software products and Bulgarian software services worldwide. Some of our products that are market leaders are the GraphDB, also our CAD/CAM system, the package design, the software products for measurement control based on video technologies. These are also our solutions in the healthcare industry, such as diabetes M, MPI2, and so on. we are developing in 6 strategic verticals where we apply our key AI technologies. And Sirma has offices in Bulgaria, US, Canada, Brazil, UK, and Albania. We have more than 400 employees. We have IT experts that are world-class experts. We have our own infrastructure and data center. We also have our own head office building. We have been a public company since 2015, and we are one of the most traded on the BSE, and we are also part of the SOFIX index. In early 2018, we have adopted a 5-year strategy that includes the development of the company up to 2022. In this strategy, we set our focus on the AI technologies. Our goal is to develop technologies that are dominating the segment of knowledge management in organizations. We will impose our SandPy platform, which will be the core, or will unite as a system, which is a platform in the IA area, and this will allow us to develop more efficient technological and fast projects in the area of AI in big organizations who are our customers. In this year, 2018, we have started the increase of capital of the company by 20 million euro. Our goal is to reach a revenue of 100 million euro by 2022. Based on either organic growth or acquisitions of companies. And we also have a plan to be listed on a large global exchange such as Nasdaq, London Stock Exchange, or Hong Kong Stock Exchange. What we have achieved over the years, starting with our revenue of 9 million euro in 2012, and you can see that our revenue as of 2017 were 26.6 million. This year we expect about 30 million euro as per our forecasts. We also have more than 360 people staff. We sell in more than 60 countries in the world. Our average revenue growth is 24% and more over the last few years, probably last 6 or 7 years. On the screen you see several graphs that show the consolidated financial information of the group over the years, where the base year in these statistics is 2012, where revenue was 9 million euro compared to 26.6 million euro in 2017. EBITDA was 3.1 million compared to 8.2 million is in 2017. The net profit has increased also more than 3 times. The R&D costs have increased over the years because no software company which develops high tech products can be competitive on the world markets if it does not have solid investments in R&D. the revenue per billable employee has increased more than twice over the 5-year period. In the strategy of the company, we have specified the financial forecast for the next 5 years. Most of our shareholders with whom we had meetings said that we are probably the only company on the Bulgarian Stock Exchange that is trying to give such a long time forecasts, but we have high goals, and as you can see from the statistics for development of the company, to date we have managed to fulfill them. What are the forecast revenue? You can see that as 2022 we will try to reach a revenue of about 100 million euro, and the EBITDA, the DA as of 2022 must be about 24.4 million euro. We have to highlight here something that you can see on the table, which reflects the decision of the board of directors to start distributing dividend. So we plan to distribute dividends in 2019. We will start from 4.55% to reach 12% as of 2022. Around the world, very seldom technological companies can afford to distribute dividends, but here we are trying to allocate the specifics of the market and the shareholder structure we have. In Bulgaria, the public companies are expected to distribute dividends. So our results and the way we conduct our business allow us to allocate profit and also allow us to implement our strategy also in this direction, namely distribution of dividend. As regards the increase of capital, there is information related to the increase of capital of the company. Currently, the number of shares is 59,360,000. The free float of the company is 60%. The amount of the new million will be 20 million euro, or up to 39,573,679 shares. The minimum threshold is 58%, and the price per share is 1 lef. The whole information is announced on our website in the investor relations section. What is the expected schedule of our public offering? The publication of the prospectus and the notice of the offering was on November 27th. The start of trading with rights will be December 7th, and the last day of trading with rights will be 20th of December. The auction for rights will be on January 4th of next year, and the last date for subscription and payment of shares is 21st of January of next year. You can find the schedule on our website as well. Why do we do this capital increase? What we will use the funds for? They will be used for three directions. One is R&D, the other one is marketing and sales, and consolidation and restructuring of the company to eliminate the minority shareholders and transfer of intellectual property and operations to the holding company. As I mentioned, a technological company cannot be successful without significant efforts for R&D. Therefore, we have planned over the years quite big investments that are relating mostly to the development of the Senpai platform that collects technologies and products in the area of AI, starting with the collection of data, retrieving of information from data, structuring of information in knowledge graph, our product GraphDB, then enrichment of information and forecast algorithms. Algorithm based on machine learning for retrieval of new information, new knowledge out of all information collected, and communication to end users who are chatbots, personal assistants, document management and process management systems. Also in relation to the desire of our shareholders, we have started a restructuring process where we are transferring the key technologies and key digital assets to the holding company, which will not be just a holder of ownership and a company that provides administrative services to the group. It will hold the R&D activities in the area of our core technologies. We will have sales of our core products in the AI area. This company will also have lots of R&D sales teams. The core strategic customers will be of Sirma Group. And this is done in order to have shareholders closer to the key activities and key ownership of the group. And the last direction where we will invest, but not least, is marketing and sales. The increase of the sales force, including the acquisition of key companies working in our markets where we are interested, such as US, Germany. What we can achieve through these acquisitions will be used not only the resource that we will get from the increase of the capital, we will be supported also by bank loans. What we aim is to increase the revenue and profit of the group, but also to use the acquired companies as new sales channels for our products and technologies at the respective markets. This was in brief what I wanted to tell you. I hope that you will support us in this endeavor, in the fact that we want to increase the capital, and I hope you will take part in the good Bulgarian history of Sirma, and together we will try to achieve something really big that has started here in Bulgaria. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Alexiev. We have received several questions. Please ask your questions on the channels which you see on your screens. I will try to summarize the questions because sometimes they're very close. The first question is that you have mentioned the restructuring of Sirma. When do you expect to finalize the corporate restructuring, and when can we expect most of the intellectual rights to be concentrated in Sirma Group? I have started the answer to this question. It is clear why and what we are trying to achieve with the restructuring. It is already ongoing. We have started this process, and we have announced the transaction for acquisition of the package of Nevek from Ontotext. Currently, we also restructure, and by the end of the year, we will collect the intellectual rights in a new company that is called Sirma AI. This is also the first name of Sirma. This is how we started in 1992. And after we collect all the rights in the assets and the ongoing concern of Ontotext, then we will merge also this company in Sirma Holding in the next year. So the main elements of the restructuring will be finalized next year. Thank you. We have another question that I think Mr. Nikolov can answer, and the question is: currently I'm not a shareholder, but I want to become a shareholder. How can I subscribe shares from the new issue? So the increase of the capital is standard procedure. All the existing shareholders receive rights proportional to the shares they hold, and they can use those rights. For investors who are not shareholders currently, they can do that. They can buy rights as of December 7th, and in the next 2 weeks everybody can buy rights. And it is important to mention that 1.5 rights can be subscribed for 1 share. So if you want to buy shares for 4,000 levs, you have to buy 1,500 rights from the market. To this end, you have to work with an investment intermediary. You have to keep in mind that investing and the transfer of the amount for subscription of new shares will be closed about January 22nd of next year. But in the next 2 weeks you have to purchase and subscribe the rights in order not to for them to go to an auction. It is important to mention that the company in the last 3 years have developed its activities very well, and you can see this in their financial statement. And some existing shareholders that have participated at the increase of capital at 1.20 lev. Now they can purchase shares with a big discount from the value, because over the 3 years the the company has accumulated value, and we have a discount from the price of from 3 years ago when the shares were issued. So Sirma Group is very dynamic and is trying to conquer apart from the IT sector, also and to restructure and to transfer the assets and operations to the public company from the subsidiaries, which is a result of the feedback that they get from investors. Thank you, Mr. Nikolov. I have two questions that regard Sirma AI. The first one is, please explain why do you create Sirma AI and then you plan to merge it in Sirma Group? And another similar question. Now, will there be any dilution of ownership upon merger with Sirma Group? Hello. The restructuring has started, and due to complicated proceedings, which are both legal and from a business perspective, we are collecting the intellectual property in one company. Some of the companies that have intellectual property, they are located in the US. Some companies are located in Bulgaria, and the procedures are relating legally with many decision making and implementation of lots of legal provisions, which are long-term, complicated, and very complex. That's why we decided, instead of going through all such procedures for the holding company, to start the restructuring within one company that will be owned at about 80 to 90% by the holding company, and then we will merge this company in the holding company, where we will merge the business operations, the main technologies, and the intellectual rights for them. The whole restructuring has to be approved by the regulatory authorities, by the General Assembly of Shareholders, and we expect this to happen in the next year. So this is very briefly about the restructuring. As regards the dilution of ownership, from the perspective of from current perspective, it is difficult to say what the dilution will be. It depends on the assessments and the merger, how we will perform the merger, but the dilution of capital will be minimum. It will be minor. It will not be more than 1, 2, 3 or 5%. It depends on the assessment at the time of merger with the holding company and the company that we are currently establishing. We are trying within the restructuring the subsidiary where we will merge all technologies, which is currently 100% used by Sirma Group Holding. The technologies that we will merge from the US are about 97.5% owned by Sirma Group Holding and 2.5% ownership of Sirma Group ING. Currently we have a procedure for increase of capital of Sirma Solutions. So what I'm saying is that the transformation with the transformation, the dilution will be minimum, but we can discuss it next year when we have finalized all the processes. Thank you, Mrs. Pennival. We have another question. Who will be the companies who will be included in Sirma AI? In general, we envisage and we have prepared the respective documents, and we expect legal procedures for the purchase of the going concern of onto text, where the company will we will gradually buy out the minority shareholding, and the technologies will be 100% owned by Sirma Group. The second company that we will also merge technologies in Sirma AI through the purchase of Sirma Solutions and the part regarding facial recognition technologies and some other technologies. Another company is from the US that has a capital of $11 million, where the main technologies regards some major investments in the development of software for communication channels, encryption, and algorithms related to AI. So we will take back all the software rights and will concentrate them in Sirma AI. As a result of all this, we expect about 65 million to be the intellectual. It's in the leva. To be the intellectual rights that will be concentrated in Sirma, and after all those complicated processes of transfer of ongoing concerns, assets, purchase of enterprises within the group, and this will not be a financial burden for the company. On the next stage, we will concentrate the intellectual rights and business operations regarding core technologies to the holding company. Thank you very much. And I have another question, who is probably for Mr. Nikolov. Is there an interest, any particular interest from a strategic investor for the new public offering of Sirma? At this stage, I can only share that in the first place we have approached the current institutional investors who are already shareholders in the company. We have held many meetings. Some of them were very positive. The other ones we would review their investments. Despite the fact that the situation at global markets is quite complicated, we have discussions with several foreign institutional clients that are new to the company, and that they see the investment as a long-term strategic interest, and they're not so concerned about the 5 zloty price fluctuation on the BSE. They are more concerned about the price of the company in 5 or 10 years, seeing its great potential. From this perspective, even though it is too early to say, we have assurances from 2 or 3 I cannot call them anchor investors, and you know that this is prohibited by the Bulgarian law, but we believe that we have at least 2 serious, very big investors who would subscribe the minimum of 10 million euro. Of course, we prefer and we hope we will have a strong participation of the local pension funds and companies from the Sofix family we will also welcome a large small investors. Another question regarding the shares: can we count on a commitment for lockup from the management? What has to keep our investors and shareholders um, relaxed uh, is that all the owners are in the holding companies, so the interests of the management and the investors and the existing shareholders are coinciding, which is very good. And here we don't have to talk about any conflict of interest or anything like that. As regards the founders of the company, and you know that many people who have worked at Sirma at some point in time, they hold shares from the company. People who are currently working at the company, and we have an agreement that we will not sell before the company is listed on a big stock exchange, but considering the free float of over 60%, it is obvious that we cannot control uh, the uh, um, the big packages, and the shareholders who are managing the company and want to see one very successful Sirma at an international stock exchange. We consider different options where we will have a lockup agreement, but we will also finance the increase of our participation in the company. Kind of management buyout. There is a question that was somehow answered at the presentation. Probably it's not completely clear. The strategy has a goal to acquire technological companies. Could you please comment on this? To mention once again, the tech development companies regard technologies that are very valuable and need to have them in our platform, Senpai. We don't think that we will invest in them because it will be very expensive to start from scratch. That's why we are looking at acquiring existing companies and existing technologies. These are relatively small acquisitions that are only in the area of technologies. As regards the second type of acquisitions, of market share and market presence, these are larger companies that consolidating them will expect that they will increase the consolidated results of the company, meaning more revenue, more EBITDA. We also have a list of such potential companies to be acquired. Over the years, we have very attentively explored such targets, and what I can say as an example of such company, without mentioning any names or specifics, and we are not yet into discussions with the company, but we know that it is for sale. But imagine a company that has a client base in one of the verticals that we are interested in. It has a technology that we can improve, including our technologies, and on the other hand, it is a company that has a revenue of about 20 million euro and is a company that and that we can sell our existing products to their client base. So we have lots of win-win-win. So this strategy would be very winning because we will increase the revenue and financial consolidated results. Then we will increase and find new channels to sell our technologies. We can improve the efficiency and the performance of the company. So such companies would be interesting. And also another thing that I forgot to mention, it is a company that is operating in Germany, which is a market where we are very weak. We managed to sell in countries as US, Canada, in Asia and globally, but for it is very difficult to sell in Germany. So I hope I answered your question, but this is an example of a target company for acquisition. Thank you, and we have also an answer from the person that he is satisfied with the answer. There is another question. Recently you have announced that Fujitsu has bought licenses of GraphDB. What does it mean, and what is expected out of this in terms of revenue and profit? In principle, it is about development of strong network for technologies that are important for our group. These are AI technologies. Fujitsu is the third largest system integrator with whom we have a successful partnership. The first were Infosys, with whom we entered into big US banks and one big global pharmaceutical company. Unfortunately, our contracts for confidentiality do not allow me to specify the names of those banks and companies, but these are customers that every company would like to have in their portfolio. Another partner of ours is Atos, who is a big European software company, and with Fujitsu is our third partnership with a system integrator, with whom we have entered in a public project in Spain. It is a transaction for several thousand euro. I cannot share any details about it, but the good things about such transactions is that it could be multiplied in other EU countries, and we will looking forward to it in the next years. So through such partnerships we can reach big clients, because working in partnership with a big system integrator, it is obvious that reaching big customers it's much easier. Thank you very much. And there is another question which is a little bit retrospective, but probably it is good for this discussion. I'm looking at the webinar, watching the webinar, and I would like to ask some information about how have you spent the funds that you have raised during the IPO in 2015. They were 11.5 million left, and what are the results of those investments and their status as of today? And this person wishes you success with the public offering. How we spent the money from the initial public offering in 2015 is announced in detail in the annual reports for 2016 and also in the management report for 2016. As regards the investments that were made and the profitability of funds from the first IPO, I can say that this is very difficult to say, because these are not investments that were made with funds from the IPO only. They were also own investments of the company. There are investments who are currently have a revenue increase by 200%. There are also increases by 50% or 400%. And there are some investments that were not so successful, especially from a business model point of view. But I think Mr. Alexiev can elaborate on this. First of all, I would like to say that no one in Sirma regretted the fact that we have launched an IPO in 2015 on the Bulgarian Stock Exchange. We expected a different circumstances on the BCE, but things are as they are, and who we are to judge whether the stock exchange is good or liquid or not. We have chosen something and we have to go along with the situation in which we are working. Why this was good for us? It was because over those years, ever since we became a public company, we became more disciplined, more focused. At the initial, at the beginning, when we became a public company, we had different focuses, but now we have a strong focus of Sirma, and we know what we want to achieve and how we want to associate our company. We have spent money for marketing and sales, for a new office in the US. We have opened an office in New Jersey. We have appointed several sales persons, and they have acquired several big projects, and the whole thing was profitable. But at the end of the day, we decided to merge the two offices, the one in Jersey with our main office in the US, which is in Boise, Idaho, due to several reasons. First of all, New York is quite an expensive city to have a location in. Also, clients have a different profile of on the East Coast. We have clients of Ontotext, and all other clients are on the West Coast. There were some competition between two offices. That's why we merged them organizationally. But it was not money wrongly spent. We have achieved good results. Out of this, we have started a project with one of the biggest consulting companies. Another thing that happened after the IPO was that from 2015 to 2018 we managed to create several very good products. Without the additional funding, we wouldn't have been able to achieve that. We have started the development of a new vertical area, which is the healthcare, with our app MPI 2, for which is the stuttering solution, which is now developing very well in the US. We have lots of interesting opportunities in the area of healthcare that emerged in this vertical. Then we have managed to develop several very interesting products in the new vertical that we created, which is customer intelligence. We have developed LoyalX. We have started the development of chatbots for the retail and call centers and different businesses where there is lots of maintenance. We have developed good products in the area of measurement and industrial applications. And at the same time, despite the fact that we invested lots of money, we also had good growth, because when you invest a lot, it is difficult to grow. So we were quite stable, and at the end of the day, we have a good start to implement our very ambitious strategy for the next 5 years to 2022. So yes, probably we have made lots of mistakes from the IPO until today, but we are boys and girls who are ready to learn from our mistakes. So I hope we will make less and less mistakes in the future. So as far as I heard, there are no more questions, and I will wrap up. What I wanted to share with you is some thoughts that I had with our from the current meetings I held with our institutional and retail shareholders. We had very useful meetings. They gave us very good feedback. We got lots of precious advice. It is very interesting that there are lots of rumors in the financial community. Some of them are very strange, but what I would like to say is that we are not one of those businessmen, big businessmen. We have started our work with software lots of years ago, and we are enthusiasts who want to achieve something. So I ask you to see us not from the perspective of what has happened in Bulgaria to date, but we are trying to be as transparent as we can. Everything that happens in the company, we try to disclose. It is not always so good for a company to disclose so much from its strategy, but we do it in order to create a precedent for a public company that is trying to communicate very openly with its shareholders and to provide an overview on the actual situation. So currently, what I would like to say is that Sirma has a great potential, and I'm saying it not because I'm part of Sirma and Sirma is my life, but because we can achieve lots of things. The business in the last year was going very well. We have more clients. We can get to bigger names from the industry. With the achievement of 100 million euro revenue, that is our main financial goal for 2022, is not something unachievable, and also the listing on a big international exchange is non-unachievable goal, but we cannot do it alone. Probably we can do it, but it will be very difficult. That's why we're asking you, the existing shareholders and the investors who would like to enter in Sirma, please join us. and let's try to achieve together a big success. Thank you very much.